Hello. This is Happy Valley Hobbies, and these are hobbies that make me happy. It's one of those things of definitely having a clickbait video is basically saying that hopefully get people's attention. One of the things I am in the process of doing is I've said this for the past couple of weeks is moving to a different time slot. So I'm planning on going to Saturday morning at 8:45 instead of doing Sunday nights. So that's why sort of had uh, the title of I'm done, but it's I'm done for Sunday nights, mainly because there's things I want to do on Sunday nights. I think when I was originally doing the Sunday nights was because of um, things hadn't still quite opened up yet. Not necessarily locked down, but nothing had restarted in the area, so I had no reason to do a not do Sunday nights. But now things are there's some things I want to go to now that they're on Sunday nights. So that's the change for it. Nothing that drastic. It's just also gives me I work second shift, so I'm normally sleeping in. So getting up early on a Saturday, for a lot of people are like, why would you want to get up early on a Saturday? It's like, because during the weekday I'm getting up late anyway. So I get up technically the same, technically about the alarm is set technically for Sunday, so going to church and all that fun stuff. But let's see. Oh, hello there, Ann Fields. Thank you for coming in. And also, speaking of Anfield, I'm assuming Hot Dog Pilot Andy will be popping in also. They're two people that are across the pond, so it'll be a lot much easier for them to join the festivities, instead of trying to stay awake. But then again, I had changed my schedule before a couple of times, and every time I would wind up losing some people. It's bound to happen, but then again, I also would pick up people, so it's sort of along those lines. Editing a vlog at the moment. Hello, Valleys. Thank you for coming in. So I don't know if how well the Saturday morning schedule will be, but one thing, unlike other, I would say, unlike what my original plan for the channel was, I was unemployed at the time. It was deep into the pandemic, and a lot of Heath from Humanity Junction says, why don't you start a YouTube channel? So it's like, after a lot of prodding and all that, I had the equipment at the time. The equipment has, except for that monitor, I think all the other pieces of equipment have changed. I got a newer computer. I got a different monitor screen, it's now a smart TV, which is really dumb in my opinion. Hello there, Mystic. Yeah, it was a free television. It replaced originally I had a flat screen VGA monitor, and then that started making some unsettling sparking noises. So I went and grabbed an even older VGA monitor, which was the CRT. I had that for a while. Unfortunately, that one, the Red Gun decided to give out on that, and it was at the same time I was able to get a friend of mine said, "Hey, I got a smart TV, or I have a TV. Do you want it?" I'm like, yeah, I'll look at it, and it's like flat screen TV. Sure, why not? For some reason, I'm not able to. The resolution is very odd on it. With this screen, which is a regular TV, it's not a smart TV. It actually remembers what the last setting was. The smart TV does not remember what last setting it is, so I have to constantly take it off of being a TV and switching it over to as a monitor every single time. Whereas this one, I just turn it on, it's there. I had for a while. I had a laptop, but the battery on the laptop sort of hoofed up and all that, and I took it out. Still was working and all that, but at the same time, I had a wire. Because of the way it was set up, I actually had set up an over. So in order to use it properly, I had a wireless keyboard and mouse. So I was using up batteries a lot. Now I got a single all-in-one unit with pretty much everything all nice and wired. Of course, all nice and wired mouse, wired keyboard. I like things wired, mainly because it adds one less complexity to it. Because when it's wireless, you're adding another layer of I'm trying to think. It's actually called a layer in computer terms, but it adds more to the signal. That's why, yes, like a lot of it is TVs are not good as monitors. I would have to say the odd thing with the smart TV is that the resolution is like absolutely perfectly crisp. But it turns around. It's like when I was using it as that monitor on that side, it's a massive screen TV. So it's oversized of what for the room that I got. But the thing is that yes, it gave great detail on pictures, but you had less pictures, if that makes any sense. What it was say with YouTube, when you're looking at the screen, there's like, I don't want to say thumbnails because they're way larger than thumbnails, but you had 4 across, previews for videos. But yeah, it's like, sometimes a large monitor is like, it depends on what you need. It's one of those things of these 2 monitors I got that one I got for free, which is the smart TV. That one over here, I actually traded it in. The son of the landlord who helped me get my apartment, he at the time before the monitor. Oh, hello there, Dan. Thank you for coming in. He, at the time, I'm not sure if he's still doing it, but he was rebuilding old video games, arcade games, and so those use CRTs. And I happen to have this large television, and it's like I couldn't fit it anywhere. It was just laying around, and he just happened to mention that it's like he had this extra TV, and I said, he was looking for it, and it's like, or he was looking for a CRT, and it's like, well, I got this big TV. So he wound up trading me that. This every now and then, I'm not quite sure what's the issue is, but every now and then it's sort of, it's hard to describe, but it winds up it's with a white background. Sometimes there's like lines across it, so I'm not sure if it's a power issue or what. But it's I'd like this when this is set up, for like YouTube. It has four previews, across. The smart TV, for some odd reason, even though it's a much sharper picture, is only 2 wide. Why? Don't know. But there's times that I'm not, even though it has much higher resolution, it's too big for for the space that I have, and it also is just not. And there's times it's just not happy. Why? Don't know. But I got it for free, so I deal with it. But I am thinking of. I want to say it's not an actual plan, but it is an idea that if I change my studio setup, I could find a way to get the all-in-one system so I can mount it on a I've known people who have done that. I know someone that, this is going in the 2000s era. I know somebody that they had access to a projector, and they turned around and they had a projector, and they basically turned around and they put between two trees, they put a bed sheet. And the thing is that this was just when LCD screens were just starting to become popular, and the prices were getting down low and all that. And I think the smart TV is about the same size as what they had, because they did wind up buying a large LCD screen. But then they had access to this projector, so they turned around and set it up, like a drive-in theater, basically, except that instead of cars, you actually had lounge chairs and all that fun stuff. And the funny thing is that once it got cold out, they couldn't go outside anymore. So they had to go back to the 52-inch screen, and I remember Dave, who was the husband, it's like turned around and says, "Wow, this 52-inch screen looks small now." But one of the things I'm gonna see about doing is that it's one of those things that I haven't done it yet, but it'd be nice to be able to do, is see about getting actually buying some screens that be more the same size as the all-in-one system, and then be able to mount everything onto a triple wide monitor setup, and then have that monitor setup actually above the my workstation, where all the top-down stuff is and all that, and then turn around and maybe take the smart TV, put it in front of the lathe, and then that would be the quote backdrop. So instead of having this, I would have the smart TV as a backup, sort of like for the background, and I can put stuff on, stuff on there. I got a couple of I got some Raspberry Pis that I can use that as a, just, as a screen, have it go through like a screensaver, stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm not really motivated to do it. It would require, I would have to say it would require, I mean, I might be able to keep this monitor or this TV, because it's not that massively larger than this screen. But this screen is it's just massive. I mean, let's see, this is about, I want to say 1.5 feet. That's about 2 foot, 1.5 feet wide. I know they usually measure them diagonally. This is about 2 foot. Yeah, this is about 2 foot, 2.25 foot wide. And this, I want to say, is almost 4 foot wide. Because, I mean, it would be 4 foot wide, because the desk that I have, it took up the entire desk. This monitor takes about, the computer itself only takes half that. And so it's like you got the Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear. Papa Bear is just way too big. I do not need something that large. But then again, as I said, I got it for free. So there's not that much complaining about it. But I am thinking that it be better repurposed as a background screen where I can put stuff on it. But that's if I decide to move my studio, so the computer and everything is, my headshot will be over, pointing this way, because right now I'm pointing west, and every now and then, especially sometimes during the year and all that, the sunset does get in the way. But if I'm, moving, well, all right. And Phil, thank you for coming in. And thank you for showing up. I mean, hopefully you can make it to my new schedule on Saturday mornings, which might be Saturday afternoon for you. But moving to Saturday, that sort of makes the sunset sort of mute, because it would be behind me, and well, there's a whole bunch of wall behind me, so that the sun will no longer be an issue. The possible other issue, I say, would have to change the lighting. So right now the lighting is in front of me, which is sort of kind of permanently mounted. So this, it would be lopsided on the lighting. So that would have to change. But yeah, it's one of those things I'm not really, speaking of the other person from across the pond, as one leaves, another one comes in. So that's one of the things of not really changing the subject or changing my studio at this point in time. I would have to say, one thing it would be nice to actually get rid of the backdrop and all that, because it goes right across the front end of the apartment, and it can be annoying at times. So that's, again, it's one of those things, if I have the ambition to do so. I ran out of things to babble. Also, another thing that I'm not quite sure if I would do this, but I do have a lighted picture frame from when I was growing up, which is about the size of that monitor. So it's 2.5 foot wide. And I had to take it out of the closet because the landlord had to have access to said closet. And looking at it, I'm thinking of that would also be a interesting thing to have in the background. Have the big TV on one side and have this on the other, or above, or wherever I figure out where it would go. But it's one of those things haven't really thought that much about it. But it every now and then I was like, oh, I could do this and all that. This, usually when I get annoyed with that smart TV, it's one of those things of going like, well, we can do something else different with it. But that is that would require a little bit more thought, because I would have to find another way how to mount it. In fact, right now it's not really. It's sitting on stuff, but the thing is, it's so large it's actually across 2 tables. New bags. All right, Valleys. Yeah, sometimes I forgot which one it was, but it was one of the more famous model rareors. When somebody asked them, it's like, what are the skills that you need to build the perfect layout? And one of the answer that this famous, I don't know if it was, for some reason I'm thinking John Allen. I don't know if that quote is from him, but basically says you acquire all the skills you need to build the perfect layout after building 8 layouts, or something similar to those lines. It's one of those things. I don't have the quote in front of me. I don't know what the exact quote is or who actually said it. But yeah, I want to lean John Allen or people from that era. And that's one of the reasons why I also build these little dioramas, because I myself, my current space that I have no room to put water features unless they're a very small stream or something like that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these dioramas, so I can build bridges, because there's no room for a bridge on a layout that is only 6 foot, or too many mistakes on the first effort. Yeah, because you don't know what you don't know. And well, hello there, Randall. Thank you for coming in. But yeah, that's also one of the reasons why I'm doing these dioramas, because it's like I want to make sure my skill level is to the point where, because I have such a small layout, get it done right. Find out what mistakes are made and all that. Yeah, and that's just it. There's things that I have one of the things was hand laying track. I've done small display pieces, hand laying track, but this was learning on how to do not only hand laying track, but also turning around and I had to figure out how to hand lay a switch. I mean, I had the help of a Fast Tracks uh, a Fast Tracks jig, but the Fast Tracks jig was HO, regular HO scale. So it's standard gauge. I'm doing broad gauge, so it's one of those things of what I wound up doing was just doing the center portion of it, and then after that, using my homemade gauge blocks to make it 6 foot, and also it wound up going. It's a switch that actually goes into a gauntlet, which then goes to a selector plate, and that's why I'm naming this particular layout here pointless, because there's no points on it. Because if my thought process is that once I get if I'm able to set up the apartment, it's one of those things there's a lot of stuff I just need to get rid of. But if I get rid of enough of stuff, and actually, right now I got a bunch of those wire rack shelves, I would turn around and actually start replacing them with actual cabinetry, and then have the railroad built into the cabinetry, sort of kind of chest level, and then I could turn around and have a much larger layout, obviously, but at the same time trying to figure out what would be the that's going to require a lot more effort and energy that I have right now, but it would be set up where be mostly cabinetry, and then here have it set up where I could my thought process, still have the computer sort of like here, but to have the computer desk, so just above would be the layout, the work screens here. I would definitely have to get a smaller monitor to replace that one, because that just will not fit. But there's a lot of times it's like it's nice, fun to theorize on stuff, but at the same time, well, because it doesn't require money, so you can do all the dreams you want. I even have a slight slight track plan. But the interesting thing is that even though the layout's broad gauge, it's the main line's going to be sort of mostly dual gauge, because this is the time frame is basically June 1876, and at that time a lot of the 6 foot gauge railroads were decided to, okay, we're going to standardize, which basically add a third rail, take out the other rail, and just go for it. The thought process is that, or the lore of the railroad is that the first portion of the railroad was actually originally 4'9", so it can connect with the Mohawk and Hudson, which became part of New York Central. All right, Mystic, thank you for dropping in, and hopefully you can catch me on Saturday mornings. But the first part was originally standard, or not quite standard gauge, but close to it. But 4'9", so it can connect to what eventually became New York Central. But then when the Albany and Susquehanna said that they were coming in the area, they decided that because the one end of the railroad, there was already two other railroads. In order to distinguish themselves, they decided to go the 6-foot gauge, so they can, have be able to do larger loads that way. And then when it started expanded, whatever expansion it did was already 6-foot gauge. But with the narrow section, there's a lot of curves. Yeah, that's fun. That valley, that's I would have to say, sometimes you have to do what you have to do. I remember somebody was putting a layout together, and they're putting it together, and I've heard this secondhand, and they said that they didn't like this one section, and the person says, change it now, because if you don't like it now, you're never going to like it. So change it now before you start putting the scenery and everything else on it to make what it is. Well, hello there, Eugene. Thank you for coming in. So yeah, the idea is that this is part of the original section that was originally standard gauge, or the 4-foot 9-inch gauge, which technically is broad by 1/2 inch, but it's within it's within the tolerance of the rail, so it might as well be standard gauge. And that's what happened with from what I understand, with the great gauge change that they did in down south, where they changed all the rails back to from the 5-foot gauge to, they actually went with 4-foot 9, which would connected to the Pennsylvania Railroad, which was the thing at the time. But eventually, okay. Yeah, sometimes you have to, before putting everything on there, because you start putting all the scenery on there, that means there's more to rip out if you don't like something. But according to the lore of the layout, this section, which is originally the narrow gauge, was also the first to be re-gauged, because there was a lot of limitations because of the sharper turns, the more roller coaster of the railroad was, and unlike, from what I understand, what the Erie did when they decided to go standard gauge, they just bought all the rail and did it right. They did it fast as possible, which, from my understanding, almost bankrupt them. Trying to re-gauge everything. My thought process is that the railroad made the decision, but when they had the money, they would add they would narrow another section. So it took them a lot longer to standardize, and also gives the possibility of when the ultimate layout, it would be about maybe half or 2/3 dual gauge, and then the one section be just the broad gauge. So at least you can have some scenery of showing, hey, here's how what a broad gauge section would look like, but have it so you could still have the narrow gauge equipment and yeah, that's something different because from my understanding, there's very few people actually doing. There's only one other person I know that is doing broad gauge, and they're doing the Lackawanna. So they're being a little bit more prototypical, where I'm turning around taking. Yes, that's one of the things I keep on forgetting. The like, subscribe, and notifications. Because of I keep on forgetting that silly thing. But that's what my current lore of the layout is. It started out at 4'9". When the Albany and Susquehanna was announcing they're moving to Albany. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've seen it on the Expo circuit, but I think there's a permanent location railroad that has broad gauge. It's a club layout. Not sure where that's located, but yeah, the yeah. I got sidetracked. Yeah, it started out at 4'9". When the Albany and Susquehanna was moving into Albany, says that was the southern terminus. In order to differentiate himself from their eastern terminus, because there was, you had three railroads going to this small little tiny town, and a small town like that cannot support three railroads. So in order to differentiate himself from the other two, they went to broad gauge. And then, thing is, no one makes ready to run broad gauge track, but technically, it's just sort of like when they started doing Owen 30. They were using O gauge, but they were using HO scale track. Technically, 6 foot gauge, HO scale 6 foot gauge is 1 millimeter narrower than S gauge. So technically, you can get away with using. I mean, the ties would look massively large, but you could use ready to run S gauge track. I would use scale track, not high rail, because high rail is massively oversized to begin with for S scale, so it'd be even more out of scale for HO. But that's a possibility. In fact, that's why I'm trying to figure out if I can find out what S gauge wheel sets I can get, and then figure out what would be the S gauge or S scale equivalent of an HO scale wheel set. Well, Valleys, I want to say, hey, PK&W, thank you for coming. From my understanding, Valleys, is that broad gauge ties were longitudinal over in Britain. In the United States, they were still they basically look like regular track, just wider. Well, it's nice that someone from the Sidetrack Sunday gang is here, because I don't know if anyone from that group knows that I am changing my schedule. Mainly because there's things when I started doing the Sunday schedule, it was still sort of kind of lockdownish. So there wasn't anything to do on a Sunday night. Now there's things that I want to go to on a Sunday night. So instead of being the unofficial, unauthorized pre-show for Sidetrack Sunday, I have decided to be the unauthorized, and that's odd. I just said it just now. Yeah, unauthorized and no more warm-up act. Not for Sidetrack Sunday. Mainly because there's things I want to do on Sunday, and so there's a scheduling conflict with actually, and it's basically actually meeting people in unofficial. Thank you. The unofficial, unauthorized warm-up act. But I've decided to do it for Back on Track, because that was one that I keep on missing that particular show because I'm usually sleeping. So if I wind up being their warm-up act, that means I got the alarm set. I'll do my thing and all that, and I can actually watch them guys also. But there still will be times if I'm home on a Sunday. Yes, that's the All right. Well, I thank you, Randall. Maybe there's the possibility of having it set up where, hey, I not necessarily don't want to say scheduled, because that means that you're going to be there all the time. But yes, Cowboy Claude and those dudes, because I think it's Claude that actually owns the channel. But yeah, it's like they're more. I want to say they're more of a talk show. But well, technically, I think Sidetrack Sunday is sort of talk show-ish. But they do it. They're not. It's a different type of talk show, because they, here we have like a talking head thing, and along those talking head thing along those lines, but where they're it's usually a solo presenter, whereas the Back on Track, I want to say, is the thing is I don't watch that much TV, so I don't really oof. Well, this is Randall. This is my opinion. I'm not very good at following my own advice on this part. I have a tendency to keep on working at a place until they let me go. Even though there's been times that, it's like I've seen the red flags, but I still don't do anything. But maybe start looking now. Find where do what do you want to do? I mean, if there's I don't say jump ship right now because you still don't know what it is, but I would say at least look what else you want to do. It's a lot better to. It's also a lot better to find a job when you're employed than when you're unemployed. And plan B, C, and D in place. All right, that's that's the one. That's the one way to do it. As I said, I'm usually not good at following my own advice on that part. But I am. Thing is, where I'm working now is it's different because all other jobs is like, all right, this is a job, I'll just keep on doing it. My current job is like, I'm tired of being at the bottom. Then not necessarily being on the top, but I'm at a point in my life I just don't want to be at the lowest paying job in the company anymore. And that's where I'm at right now. And one of the things I want to see about doing, yeah, it adds the whole thing might wind up. I'm trying to think now. Not necessarily fear mongering, but there's a lot of times that it's like, oh, we just got bought out and all that. Don't worry, you still have a job and all that and etc. And then maybe 6 months later, oh, bye. So, but I know with yeah, with a lot of stuff, there's a lot of my career actually was sort of on that line of, why do it's like, the favorite question is like, why did you leave this job? It's like, well, there's, the decisions happened that were way out of my control. Well, hello there, Sparky. Decided not to lurk tonight, which I really appreciate. Right now we're discussing Randall's future employment. He's still employed. Ooh, major storms. Yeah, this morning was very wet today. Normally when I go out, I have a wide brim hat, but then when I was halfway to, ooh, okay, understood. And halfway to Bennington, I'm realizing that I should have probably should have had an umbrella with me because it was really pouring down. Yeah, rumors at work are very, very, very annoying. That's I would have to say that's one of the things that my new job is that there's constant rumors flying around. Oh, okay. Well, Sparky, you say that you have a tendency to lurk a lot here, so that's why I was assuming that you were lurking. But yeah, it seems that tonight is mostly a talk show tonight, not a modeling show. Mainly because I'm not sure if it's because of I am changing my schedule. I am decided to, instead of being the unofficial an unauthorized pre-show for the Sidetrack Sunday. Now I'm going to be doing it for Back on Track, which is on Saturday mornings. Mainly because there's some things I want to do on a Sunday night, and instead of having to, okay, I'm not going to be here this week, it just makes it easier to move my schedule and actually be able to, watch Back on Track. Because usually I keep on forgetting that they're, that they're there. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's. I worked under a plant manager that was sort of like that. It's like he would turn around and he was sort of like a Napoleon. It's like he would walk around. All right, Randall, we'll see you soon. He would every now and then he would turn around and he turned around and said to someone, "I'm gonna," it seems that almost every Friday he was firing someone, and he turned around one day and he didn't tell me this directly, but he told somebody else. There was like, "I'm gonna fire someone today," and the guy's like, okay, who?" He's like, "I don't know yet," and then walked away, and then of course let the rumors fly who's getting fired. Yeah, don't start the rumors either. Eventually he did wind up leaving. At first we were told he was leaving because of family issues back where he was originally from, which was Texas. Later, when the new guy came in, which was complete opposite. This guy, they said is like, oh, the new guy is he's originally from Madrid, and he was a test engineer. So we're like going like, well, at least he knows what size of the ruler to use. But whereas the other guy is like, it's like always trying to put on the tough guy attitude. He actually he made fun of one of my coworkers who had a Honda Goldwing. It's like, oh, he's not a real motorcyclist. He's got a Honda. This guy. Yeah. I mean, I would have to say, people who don't think that they're perfect have a tendency to be better because they know they're not perfect. Nice. But the thing is that the old boss, it's like he, saying, he's not a real motorcyclist, it's like. But the thing is that the guy who had the Honda Goldwing, the amount he would put the same amount of mileage per year that was on the boss's Harley. He would drive it, and he kept on driving it until he got a truck that had air conditioning. Then after that, he wasn't driving it as much. But he's the only person that I know that actually has turned over the odometer on a motorcycle. But the next guy, he was he didn't care who you were. He held the door open for you. And I think there's one of the reasons why is because where he learned English 4 years prior in the China plant. So here you have broken English, Chinese style, with a Spanish accent, a very thick Madrid accent. And he had his first meeting that he had, trying to address everybody in English, and even the people who were bilingual were like, "What is he saying? It makes no sense." He one of the things I still remember to this day is like, I changed ambiance of company, and we're all like going like, "What?" And technically he did. I mean, he made it a much nicer place to work at. He got rid of he got rid of, I I don't know what the terminology for it, but there were people there that were uh, underperformers until the boss came around. And then they're like going like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing all this work and all that, and etc." And of course, he praised them, going like, "Oh, this is the kind of work I want to." And it's like, this person is just, raw, doesn't do much for the company. He works so hard to get out of work. Oh, I got to do this. It's like doing all this stuff. But once the boss came around, he's driving like 2 brooms, and hey, look, I'm cleaning. And I think this boss knew that this guy was useless, but was praising him to get everyone angry. Yeah, it's rail artist. That's one way of putting it. Ooh, okay. But one of the interesting things is one time we had come in for mandatory inventory, and everyone had to be there, and he actually did show up. Hello, Sam. Thank you for coming in. And what had happened is that he came in, and of course everyone is. Yeah, I've worked with some people like that also. They would, something went wrong, it was somebody else's fault, and they had to fix it. And if anything did go right, well, of course I was the one who, did that. He was. It was one of those things of, he was good at what he did. The problem is that he had to constantly prove it that he was better than you. All right, railers. So yes, he did things. He was very decent at it, but he always had to constantly prove that he was better than you, and that wound up rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. There was one time I accidentally. Well, I didn't think that I did any harm, but it was he had a square, and I knocked it over, put it back and all that, and he was furious because those were highly precision, to the I want to say hundredth of a degree, such and such and all that. Now you've ruined it and all that. But no, it's like, and if he was one that's, it's like everything had to be, anytime that something came up that hyper don't know how to say it, but it sounds about right. But yeah, the funny thing is that he had left the company before I got there. So when he came back after working for, I forget which company it was, but it had to do with small engines, like chainsaws, weed trimmers. It's like the smaller stuff and all that. And he, yeah. Yes, this is my last show on Sunday. Unless something drastically happens, I might pop in every now and then on a Sunday. But it's good. I'm changing my schedule, and it's because there's some things I want to do on Sundays. There's a local farm that has a concert on Sundays. And I went to I think one or two concerts before the pandemic hit. So it was like, yeah, I don't know if it's an end of an era, but definitely a turning of the page. Uh, since I've since I've started this channel, I had changed it two times before. I think originally was on a Wednesday, then I moved to a Friday, then to Sunday here, and now I'm going to Saturday. But all right, it's yeah, because I have mentioned it for the past couple of weeks that I've been changing, so uh, I did not want to say, "Hey, I'm changing," and then all of a sudden change, and everyone's like, "Where'd you go?" I know when I took a couple of weeks off, there was, I forgot who it was, but there was somebody that had on some of the other uh, there was someone, I forgot who it was, but they were saying that, hey, has anyone seen Happy Valley Hobbies lately? It's like, is he okay? He's like, yes, I'm here. Just they didn't get the community post that I was taking a couple of weeks off. But earlier this month, things were just odd. And I wound up losing time from work because it was a combination of the company doing it to me and then I doing it to myself. Every beginning of July they do inventory, so they shut everything down, count everything, and then start back up. And what had happened is that they wound up shutting down. It's like, don't show up Monday. We're going to be counting. It's like, all right. So we show up on Tuesday, and they're like, and it's like, well, they're not ready yet. Sit around, and I had misinterpreted exactly what was going on. I had thought that, oh, you stay there 4 hours, you get paid for the other 4. Found out that no, I wound up staying there for 5. So I thought I was getting paid for the other 3 hours, and then it's like, no, that's, we didn't get paid for it. So it's like, yeah, all right. So I that's on me. I didn't understand it quite right. However, I found out that they didn't get the full day, but second or first and third shift got paid for extra hours because they couldn't work. Third shift wasn't even told to come in, and I think they got 4 hours or something like that. So apparently the company decided to screw over second shift. Why, I don't know. A lot of people that I've talked to, they said usually companies, what they do is they keep people, it's like they don't lose any time, but anyone that's doing the inventory itself is getting either double or time and a half, which that to me makes more sense because it's like, it's not your fault you closed the plant down, so why should you get punished for it? And it's one of those things of they do this every year, so it was not a surprise. Well, it looks like today was just a talking head. I didn't even touch the model. There, I touched the dial. You can at least say I touched the thing. So who's on? Well, Bob probably knows this. Who is on Sidetrack Sunday? That is one of the good things I would have to say is with Back on Track. It's the same one. They're not rotating. Yeah, sometimes their talking heads are good. For anyone who is interested in the earliest things that I have, I almost want to say maybe the first 5 I was just talking, Ray. All right. Thank you. So I guess I'll see everyone over on Ray's channel. And hopefully I'll see people on that show up for live on either on Saturday morning or watch the reruns. I mean, I'm not the largest channel out there. I only have 136, but it's, you know, when I first started, you know, it's like like everyone else, oh, I'm going to be big and all that, and etc. And I've gotten to the point where this is more, in order to provide content, I'm actually doing more modeling than I actually ever have. All right, thank you very much, Andy. All right, so, but I mean, if you can't make it live, please watch the rerun, and hopefully the shenanigans won't get too crazy. But I believe that the world needs more love. So find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it around the world. Bye.